Hello, girlies, and welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Faith. Basically, these are videos that I have in a YouTube series that I have been just really opening up about my life and sharing with you my testimonies of things that God has done in my life. Really cool stuff, and it's unfiltered, it's raw. I'm ranting, I'm yapping, and I'm just telling you these stories. Like if you were a friend sitting with me for some coffee, you're a new friend, and I am just sharing with you what God has done in my life. I am doing it unapologetically, proclaiming that Jesus is Lord, and I am so excited to share another unfiltered story with you guys, because I give you details, I give you tea, I give you everything about the story. So welcome if it's your first time here. I'm actually on a work trip, so I had some kind of downtime. We just got back from dinner, and I'm like, I just want to sit and talk to the camera, just because I'm like in a hotel room by myself, and my husband's in worship practice, so I'm waiting for him to get out so we can just, FaceTime. So waiting on him, and I was like, let me talk to the girlies. So first of all, this is kind of like a little trigger warning. I am going to talk about infertility. I'm going to talk about wanting to have a baby, but it is, I know, something that can be very triggering to some women who have maybe encountered loss or are currently going through infertility, and it's something that is even hard for them to, talk about or express. So if that's you, don't worry, come back and watch the next vlog or the next video, but let's get right into it. So I have been struggling with some infertility for a couple of years now. It's kind of hard to say how long we've been struggling with it, right? Because there's been seasons where we've been actively trying to have a baby, and there's other seasons where we're just like, we're done trying. We're just gonna let it be. We're not gonna worry about it. And my husband and I have been married for 6 years. We got married in 2019, and I was so excited to get married, and truly, my plan was to have a baby right away. Maybe at most wait a year, 2, even felt like a lot. But like 6 months into our marriage, I just got baby fever. Baby fever was so bad. My sister-in-law was pregnant with my nephew for my wedding, actually. So it was really funny because she found out she was pregnant literally like a month or 2 before the wedding. So she was like, oh my gosh, my belly's growing, and I hope I fit into the dress that I already purchased for, because she was one of my bridesmaids. So anyways, I remember I was like, oh, I am ready to have a baby. And my husband and I started trying, except my periods have been really, really irregular since around the age of, I want to say 18 or 19. And I never really fully got checked out for it, which I know that's not good. But as a nurse, I got married at the age of 24. I became a nurse at 22. And now I am now 30 years old. So I was like, I think I have PCOS. I was like, whatever. And the thing is, with PCOS, the treatment really is, it's kind of interesting. You go see a doctor for PCOS, and I'll tell you guys how I got diagnosed. Once Daniel and I got married, and I knew my periods were irregular, and I remember even before Daniel and I got married, I told him, hey, I have irregular periods. Like, I really think one day when we try to start a family, like I might struggle, which he totally was like, it's fine. For me, I've always been open to adoption. I've always been open to being a foster mom, and like, to me, totally open to that idea. But of course, wanting to experience motherhood through actually birthing a child. So yeah, not really opposed to adopting at all, but like that would come as an option later on if it gets to that point, which we are not even close to that point yet. But basically, when I was 24 and we had been trying for a few months, and I knew I had these irregular periods, I went on Amazon and I bought like ovulation strips. You can basically buy these kits where you can kind of, you'll pee into a little cup, and then you'll dip it, and then you'll check to see if you are ovulating. I tried doing that for a while. Nothing was coming out positive for ovulation. It could just mean that I wasn't catching it, or it could mean that I truly wasn't ovulating. So I went to go see a my hair is like doing weird stuff. I went to see a gynecologist a few months into our marriage and got diagnosed with PCOS. And I was a little bit annoyed because she literally asked me about my symptoms, and I told her, you know, I do grow hair in my face. I have the irregular periods, but she never did an ultrasound. She didn't even do blood work on me. She didn't do anything but said, hey, just go on birth control. You'll be fine. She didn't educate me on PCOS. I wasn't super knowledgeable at the time. And I felt a little bit like, seriously? Now, when I got married, the birth control option that I chose was the Depo shot. Basically, this is a shot that you get every 3 months, and it provides you the birth control for those 3 months, and then you go back to the doctor and get injected again. And the reason I did this is because I knew myself, and taking a pill at the same time every day and stuff like that, like I knew I would forget. I know myself, I knew I would forget. And you know, even though I wanted to have a baby pretty early on, like obviously when we first got married, not yet, you know, I did want to enjoy that honeymoon period. And so after I came off the Depo shot, I started bleeding. Like I got my period and I was like, cool. I didn't think I was going to get a period. And I was already like at the 3-month mark where, you know, I needed to already go and get the Depo shot again. And I started bleeding and it's profuse. And I'm like, okay. And before I knew it, I bled for 3 weeks straight. It was awful. And that's when I realized that I don't know about birth control. I also was doing some research about birth control at the time, and how some birth control pills can be abortions, if I'm saying that correctly. And basically what that means is that these medications, some of them can actually allow you, like can allow a sperm to reach your egg, fertilize the egg. Christians, we believe that life starts at conception. Life doesn't start later on, doesn't start 9 months in when you're about to have the baby and it's born. Life starts at conception. So I do not agree with abortion. I believe that it is evil. I believe that it is taking a human life, and life starts at conception. So I was not in agreement with a medication that would allow me to essentially have that fertilized egg, but create a hostile environment in my uterus so that that embryo, because at that point it's an embryo, just basically fall out. And, you know, my body get rid of it or whatever. So I was not in agreement with that. To me, that is an abortion. Though it might seem like, oh, it's mild or something like that, it's just birth control. I did not agree with the method of action of these medications. Plus, all of, you know, you start hearing this information about how, like, later on women have trouble getting pregnant with a Depo shot. I was actually told that it could stay. And again, you can fact check me on this because I'm no expert. I'm just kind of giving you the information that was given to me by my doctors and stuff. But basically the Depo shot apparently can stay in your system for up to a year. So it's truly, if you're going to use that as a birth control method, you do run the risk of then wanting to quickly come off of it and just not repeat your dose in 3 months, and then not being able to get pregnant for a hot minute, because the medication can stay in your system for a long time. I don't know. I took issue with that. I didn't like that a medication could stay so long in my system. And then my issue with birth control pills, I actually went on a birth control pill at the time before I did the research into it. And it was, I believe, the Millie pill, which is what the gynecologist told me to take. And because after I bled for 3 weeks, I was told, you can't do the Depo shot. Not a choice for you. So I went to see a gynecologist. She told me, go on the Millie pill, you'll be fine. I took the Millie pill for 3 days, and I know I didn't really give it much of a chance, but like 3 days was enough for me to be like, I do not want to be on birth control. Number one, the Depo shot made me gain 15 pounds. Number two, I did not feel like myself on birth control, like at all. I was hormonal. I was moody. I was hungry. I was angry. I was not myself. I was not myself, and I hated it. I hated how I felt every second, and maybe over time I would have, you know, maybe my body would have gotten used to it, and I would have been fine. But I was like, nope, this is not for me. So stop taking that. And at this point, we are almost a year into our marriage, and I'm just like, you know what? If I get pregnant, I get pregnant. But I didn't get pregnant. And now it's like 2020, pandemic, then it's 2021, and my husband gets sick with COVID, goes on to spend 3 months, I'm just gonna glaze over this part, but he goes on to spend 3 months in the hospital. and basically went into multi-organ failure. He is a COVID survivor who spent almost 3 years on dialysis as a result of having COVID. I almost lost him. I mean, he was in the ICU for months. He was, I mean, it was bad, you guys. Daniel was not given much of a chance to live, had to be put on an artificial lung. I mean, he is truly a miracle from God. And again, that's another story I'll sit down and give you a bunch of details of. But basically, the idea of having kids, I was like, it was God's will, because imagine having to become my husband's 24/7 caregiver and also having a baby. Like, it would have killed me. I do not wish that on any mother, to have a young child and then be your husband's caregiver. Like, it's rough. So at that point, I'm just almost like thankful to the Lord that, you know, it hadn't happened for us yet. But still deeply wanted to be a mom. And so now here we are in 2025, and basically where I'm at with my PCOS diagnosis was that initial gynecologist diagnosed me without doing much or educating me much at all. So I myself took it upon myself as a nurse, and I said, I'm going to go research this disease. I'm going to research what helps. And what helps, I heard metformin would help, which is basically like a medication taken by type 2 diabetics, but there are clinical studies that show that can help regulate hormones in women with PCOS, not to mention us women with PCOS are high risk for diabetes. And I was actually at a pre-diabetic point. I started to feel very, very sick. And after years of caring for my husband gets a kidney transplant. And now it's time for me to turn the attention back on myself, for me to start going to my dentist appointments, for me to finally follow up with PCOS, because for years I just ignored it, did nothing about it. And I started feeling sicker and sicker. And now at this point I have gained over 40 pounds. But obviously I was not taking good care of myself. I was eating whatever while my husband was sick. It was just kind of like survival mode. But once you come down from survival, and eventually you do have to come down from that survival and take care of yourself, right? I'm no use to my husband if I myself am sick. So I go and visit a new primary doctor who essentially tells me, you know what, she's going to treat my PCOS, tells me, you know, you don't have to go to a gynecologist. I did end up going to a second gynecologist who did find a cyst in one of my ovaries. And her guess was that she wasn't 100% sure if I had PCOS because I only had one cyst, but she did believe it was possible. And then she basically believed that I was only ovulating out of one ovary, and you do ovulate out of, like, it basically goes back and forth between your left and right ovary every month, every other month. So she thought I was ovulating once every 2 months if I was. So that was a little bit devastating. I'm like, sounds like it's gonna be really hard to get pregnant. But she did mention that there was medications that they could give me to make my body ovulate. Again, just kind of fell out of, you know, my follow-ups with her, because my husband, that's just about when he needed the transplant. And so then about a year ago, I started seeing my new primary, start getting my health in order, letting her know I'm not feeling good, I have PCOS. And basically I was pretty much in the pre-diabetic stage, which is really scary. And so I got put on metformin, then I got put on Mounjaro, and so far I'm down about 40 pounds. Actually, I'm down at my heaviest, I was 227 and I'm only 5'2", so that was uncomfortable. And then now I'm like down to like 180. So actually almost 50 pounds, which is incredible. And Mounjaro has also been shown in clinical studies to do kind of what metformin does, like help with stabilizing the hormones. And of course, stabilizing your sugars is also going to really help. And basically where I'm at right now on my fertility journey is I'm not pregnant yet. And maybe you thought this is a video where I'm going to share with you that I'm pregnant, that like God has done it. The miracle in this entire journey is that when initially that first year of marriage, I was not able to get pregnant, and I really do start worrying and saying, oh my gosh, like I think something might be wrong with me. From there to like where I am now is so incredible, because I'm not worried. Like I was talking to my husband the other day, and I said, I feel there are days that I kind of start worrying, but for the most part, now I'm 30. My goal was always to be a young mom. Like being a mom is my dream. Like truthfully, it's such a purposeful thing. Like I really feel like it's my purpose as a wife. Like that's, people dreamed of careers. Let's be honest here. Like as a woman, there are women that dream of their career and like the things that they want to accomplish in their lives. And I do too. There's tons of things that I want to accomplish in my life. You know, I have tons of dreams, just like anybody else. But being a mom and being a wife was like pretty much at the top of my list of goals and dreams that I wanted to accomplish with my life. And my goal has always been to be like a stay-at-home mom, at least for the first few years that my kids are at home. That is my ultimate dream, and I pray to God that I can do that one day. But where I find myself now is in such a place of peace, and after everything I've gone through with my husband, I've realized that the Lord had a purpose. You know, having a baby in the middle of all of that would have been a lot for me. But also I want to enjoy those first few years with my children. Like, that is my desire. And so I believe it's all going to happen in the Lord's timing. And basically where I'm at now is I am ovulating. I mean, I tested positive for my LH hormone spiking, which is what those little strips are testing. That doesn't guarantee that I am ovulating, but I haven't been able to get pregnant even while trying for several months, and be more consistent about testing for ovulation and actually tracking my periods and tracking my cycles and being more intentional about that, and losing all this weight. And my period is now coming monthly. Like, I've stabilized so much, it's not even funny. Like, I feel better, my body feels better. I'm not constantly feeling my sugar going up and then dropping down, because that is huge with PCOS. Our blood sugars are all over the place. I feel better. One testimony that I have with PCOS is that I've actually been diagnosed with periodontal disease, which is devastating for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm terrified. My dad had periodontal disease, still does, you know, obviously, and he lost teeth because of it. And you know, I'm being told that I have to go through this like long process of, you know, getting these really deep cleanings and getting on top of it. And I was actually told that this could be a result of my PCOS. Just super annoying stuff. And I'm very, you could say, picky about my teeth in terms of like, they are an insecurity of mine. Like, I like having nice teeth, and like something happening to my teeth, losing teeth, is something that is devastating to me, to be super honest. But like, peace, you know, like PCOS has, I'll be honest with you guys, and I don't think I've ever said this out loud, and I actually feel a little emotional saying it. I feel like PCOS has taken a lot from me. I feel that PCOS has been behind a lot of symptoms that I've had for many years, and couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I get very moody. I feel very, I can be very volatile. Like I have no patience. And sometimes I'm like, it's like, I don't know what's up with me. And I've come to find out that, you know, the hormone issues with cortisol issues, all these issues that you get with PCOS, that can be a part of it. The irritability, like sometimes it's like an irritability that's just out of pocket. Like I can't even figure out why I'm so irritable, and my body's tired, and I'm dealing with like extreme fatigue, flu-like symptoms. Like, and again, I've just done my research and found that, yeah, PCOS. And now, you know, I was struggling to have a baby because we have not, ever since I did the Millie pill, and I'm talking to, this was like 4 months into our marriage, 5 months into our marriage, and now we're 6 years into our marriage, and I still haven't been able to get pregnant. We have not avoided pregnancies this entire time. Even while my husband was sick, we have not avoided pregnancy at all, and I have not gotten pregnant. One would start to worry, right? And for about a year, my periods have been pretty consistent, which you would think that then my ovulation should be happening. So the next step of my journey is that I am going to be started on a medication called Clomid, and it actually causes you to ovulate. And so I'll be able to know you're ovulating right now. My doctor has really high hopes that like this medication is really going to do it. And oh my gosh, I have the best. She's actually a nurse practitioner. She's the best. I just had great experience with her. And I think that's another miracle in the journey, right? Someone who kindly listens to your concerns, you know, and is there with you. Another thing that PCOS has also done to my body is I have this underarm. I actually had a really bad situation happen this summer where I have a reoccurring abscess under my right arm, and there's tons of scarring that I have under that right arm, and darkness, and it's not, I do not wear shirts without sleeves, which is really frustrating to me. I live in Florida, and Florida is so hot. But I'm so self-conscious about my self-image because PCOS causes darkness in certain areas of my body. And my underarm, this one has this just reoccurring abscess. And this, I mean, this is the third time that it gets really bad. And this time I ended up this summer having to go to the hospital, missing days off of work, and actually having to go to the hospital and have the abscess drained, and it packed, the wound was packed. And it was one of the worst experiences of my existence, other than what I've gone through with my husband's illness. But the pain was horrific. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. They had to nick it and drain it and then pack the wound with a special gauze. And then I had to go see a surgeon, and I was on antibiotics for multiple weeks. And that abscess just keeps, sometimes it does good, then sometimes it just kind of exacerbates. And I've spoken multiple times to my doctor about it, and she really she tells me it is the PCOS. It is actually something that she has multiple patients that are struggling with the same thing due to PCOS. So it has been such a hard journey, and PCOS has put me through the ringer and quite honestly through hell. And then not being able to get pregnant in 6 years. The testimony that I'm sharing with you today is the fact that when it comes to like my infertility or possible infertility, or the fact that we're not in God's timing yet, I feel so chill like about the fertility piece of it. Like, I feel surprisingly calm about it. I'm not stressing out. I'm not freaking out. I get sad and stuff, but it's almost like I'm almost too calm about it. And my plan was always to be a mom before 30, well before 30. And now I'm turning 31 in less than 3 months. And I'm just waiting on God. And like, that is such a testimony about the peace that God gives that surpasses all understanding, that doesn't make sense, that it's just trusting God. That's a testimony. And that's a miracle in and of itself. So if you are struggling with infertility, if you like me have been waiting for years for an answered prayer, and you're starting to lose hope, and you're starting to wonder, like, when is your moment gonna come? I want you to know, because I'm not gonna be the person here like prophesying to you, or because to be honest, if I sat here and told you it's gonna happen for you, you just gotta wait on God, you just gotta trust God, like it's gonna happen. It can, absolutely, and you should believe that it's gonna happen. Like, don't lose hope. But the reality is, like, even if it doesn't happen the way that you expected it, even if it doesn't happen the way that you're like, God, I want you to do it like this, God can still make you a mother. Maybe through other avenues, and there's spiritual children, people for you to mentor and disciple. But the miracle, the true miracle, is never losing your hope and your love for the Lord and your submission to Him. Never losing that obedience, despite your frustration at the circumstances and what you have been through. That is the true miracle. That's what I learned with my husband. Yes, with my husband's situation, God gave me the miracle, but trust me, it did not come the way that I wanted it. We suffered so much. We were denied for a kidney transplant twice, and then the third time, I believe it was the third time, they actually approved my husband to be put on the transplant list, and then within 2 months we were called for a transplant. So that's another miracle that I'm going to share with you guys later on, because the journey was really, really rough with that one. But there's moments that like we really think God's going to do it like this, and He's going to actually take us on a bunch of loop-de-loops, and it's a roller coaster. But all of that is shaping and molding a character in you. But unfortunately, nothing but trial by fire is going to mold in you. And you're going to thank God one day, just like I have. You're going to thank God one day that you had patience, that you listened to Him, that you stayed the course, because it's going to make you a better person in ways that only suffering can. Anyways, God bless you guys. And if you are going through something similar, just know you are not alone. And we pray that God opens wombs, because He really does. He is in the business of doing that. And I've seen it time and time again in people in my life, people in churches I've been to, where God opens wombs. I keep saying wombs. God is still in the business of doing that. You just don't give up. keep trusting, keep hoping, and do not let your heart grow bitter. God bless you guys, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Let's interact down in the comments, encourage one another, and subscribe for more videos like this one, because this is a series we're just going to keep going. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.